right here on your exclusive home of the San Francisco Giants. KNBR, the sports leader.
3-2 pitch. Swing and a foul tip into the glove of the catcher. High fastball that I think was also out of the strike zone. Came in there at 97 miles an hour, and that puts an end to it.
Welcome into an extra inning post-game show with Bill Laskey on a beautiful Saturday as fans are filing out of Oracle Park as the final Fan Fest was at Oracle Park today from 12 to 4. A beautiful day. You saw it on television, NBC Bay Area. Of course, they televised the game in Scottsdale, and we got to see some shots of Oracle Park with the many, many Giant fans walking around the field. Some alumni were there. Of course, Brian Murphy and Adam Copeland were there. You know, being the MCs as they are. They're so good at what they do. And, of course, having you as fans go to Oracle Park walking around and getting to see the dugout, walking around the locker room, get to see the press box, all the things that you can't see during the season. But it was the final stop at Fan Fest as they finally got the fourth stop done, and that was at the beautiful Oracle Park. Boy, it looked just gleaming on television. And I'm sure all of you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a holler, 415-808-KNBR. Tell me what you think of Oracle Park as you're leaving the ballpark. And in Scottsdale, boy, the Giants were on their way. They're winning 7-2 after 4 innings. And, boy, I just can't feel bad. I just feel so bad for Keaton Winn. Just could not get anything going in the 4 batters he faced. Of course, he was just having a fabulous spring training. And a couple walks, a base hit, and a grand slam, and he faced 4 hitters, and he just couldn't get anybody out. Got behind everybody, but there was a lot of good in this game, and let's just hope Keaton Winn gets right back out there and puts a 0 on the board because he has been having a fabulous spring training. On the home run front, a couple home run balls today. Of course, Daniel Susek hit his first. That was in the 4th inning. A nice ball hit to right field, a 2-1 changeup that was up. And he took advantage of it, hit 422 feet to right center field, his first home run. And Rafael Devers was 0 for 18 coming into the game today. How about that, 0 for 18? He punches out in the 1st inning, hits a seed up the middle for a base hit in the 3rd. And what does he do in the 4th inning? Comes up and hits it. It's a 2-1 fastball up and away, and he clobbered it to left field. 406 feet, his first home run, a 3-run home run. And that really put the Giants ahead 7-2. Some great hitting today as you look at what Rafael Devers did. Of course, the home run and the base hit, he goes 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs. Casey Smith went 1 for 2. Will Brennan, who's really getting a good shot here, he goes 1 for 3 with an RBI. Susak had a nice base hit in his first at bat. He goes 2 for 3 with an RBI. Christian Koss coming in playing second base. He can hit. This kid can hit. He goes 2 for 3. And then you had Jake Holton, which really getting a shot here, playing some first base today. Had a nice hit and run base hit with Christian Koss on first base. I love it. I love it. Please keep doing it, Tony Vitello. Hit and run. And it worked out perfectly, making the runners at 1st and 3rd. And then Jesus Rodriguez, boy, this guy's opening eyes. He's playing left field now today. He hits a double his first at bat, and then he gets a base hit in the 4th inning. He goes 2 for 4. Somehow, some way, Jesus Rodriguez is opening up some eyes and a possibility of making this club. Where? We don't know. A utility infielder. He plays second. He plays third. He's a left fielder. But he's a catcher. He could be the 3rd catcher if the Giants do hold him. But some really good hitting today as the Giants had 16 hits overall in 39 plate appearances, 7 runs, 7 RBIs. But the runners in scoring position, 4 for 15. They had opportunities in the 7th inning where they had 2nd and 3rd and 1 out, couldn't push it across. And then in the 9th inning, they had a runner on 3rd with 1 out. And Bryce Eldridge struck out, and so did Haas. So the Giants end up losing 8-7 to the D-backs. They fall 15-6. Overall this week, they had a pretty good week. They lost to the Angels on Monday. They beat Cleveland 5-4 on Tuesday. They beat Kansas City 5-2 on Wednesday. Thursday, which was also seen in NBC Bay Area, tied with the White Sox 3-3. Yesterday, they lost 6-1 at Scottsdale. And really a good game playing the Reds there, and they lost 1-0. Carson Wisenhunt threw the ball again very well for the Giants. 2-3-1 on the week, and then with this loss, 2-4-1 as they go 15-6-1 with the tie. We'll come back more. We'll talk some more pitching. Get into Adrian Hauser. 415-808-KNBR. Get on the phone lines. Let's talk some Giants baseball. 1 week left. That's right, 1 week left of spring training. They come up and play the exhibition game on March 22nd, and everything's going to go on March 25th. 11 days from today. 11 days opening day when the Yankees come to town and take on Logan Webb at 5:05. I'm Bill Laskey. This is the Extra Inning Postgame Show. We'll be right back with more right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
John Henry with the Henry Union Square Hotel in San Francisco. Yep, I'm back, and I have a great deal. The Orange and Black are back, so go on Friday night, March 27th. It's against those pinstripers who belong in jail but got out and are coming here. They're playing on Saturday, so go either night or both nights on our baseball special. You get 20% off a deluxe room with parking and our cable car continental breakfast. Call now, 800-995-HUSH. That's 800-995-HUSH and ask for the baseball special.
The game may be over, but we know you want to talk more ball. So KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey continues.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
We are KNBR 104.5 and 6.8, the sports leader.
They want to get him back out there at least to begin this bottom of the fourth as Susak swings, hits a high fly ball, deep right center. This is carrying. It's on its way. It is gone. Daniel Susak leading off here in the bottom of the fourth. Hitting one out to deep right center. It just kept on going.
All right, welcome back to the Extra Inning Postgame Show. What a gorgeous afternoon here in Northern California. It's supposed to get into the hundreds in Arizona. They're talking about moving some of the afternoon games to night games because of the heat. And, of course, here in Northern California, we're going to experience some unbelievable heat here in the next couple of days. So please hydrate and put sunscreen on, all the factors of summer. But it's only March. And good weather coming up here in Northern California. Giants lose a tough one today, 8-7. Of course, taking the lead 7-2 with a couple home runs. You heard Joe Rizzo call Daniel Susak's first home run. Boy, he hit that ball really well to right center field. He's having a good spring. Good possibility of him being the backup catcher. Of course, Eric Haas is right on the tails. He had a nice double today. He was 1 for 2, while Daniel Susak was 2 for 3. So some good hitting by both the backup catchers. And, of course, Patrick Bailey will be the number 1 catcher. Having a good spring, too. Love how he's starting to hit. But, when you look at what happened today, and we got to see Adrian Hauser for the first time on NBC Bay Area, which was great. Really impressed. I was very impressed with what he threw. Of course, the fastball was up to 96, 97 miles an hour. Threw a nice sinker at 92 to 94. Good movement on that. Slider was in the 80s, mid-80s is where you want it. A little curveball, off-speed curveball. And he threw a couple change-ups in there on a 5-pitch mix. But mainly a sinker-slider type pitcher. He got hurt with the one slider up to Lucan Baker, a 2-2 slider in the 4th inning that went down the right field line. It carried pretty well. But what you saw, what Adrian Hauser, he filled the strike zone up. I love that. 15 first pitch strikes out of 20 hitters, and that's a good thing right there. 8 ground balls with 1 fly ball, and he is a ground ball machine. And he went 5 innings, 4 hits only, 2 runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, and he got up to 73 pitches, 48 for strikes. Yesterday, of course, watching Logan Webb face Canada, he got into the 70s. So now they're pushing these starters, trying to get into that 70 range of pitches. Very impressive. I was very impressed with what I saw. Kept his composure after he gave up the home run. First 8 guys up, first 8 guys down. You got to love that when you're coming right out of spring training and you got your first game in Scottsdale Stadium on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. And he was sharp. He was really sharp. Ended up walking a 9-hitter. Didn't hurt him at all. Like I said, when he got in trouble in the 2 runs he gave up in the 4th, he gave up a double to Tim Tawa. Ended up striking out McCann, and then he got into a 2-2 pitch, and he got the slider up. And it was a good pitch, but it was just up a little bit. Had him off front, and a big burly first baseman. When you're looking at Lucan Baker, he hit it right down the right field line. And that was really the only thing he gave up, 2 runs. Really nice, solid inning. 5 innings, really pushed it well. Spencer Bivens came in after Keaton Wynn couldn't get an out. Only gave up 1 hit. Pitched really well, 9 pitches, 6 strikes. He's a good middle guy. Joey LaCasey, who they picked up earlier in the week, ended up getting 1 inning, giving up 3 hits. But what a beautiful play by Barracuda. Diving catch in the right center field. Saved LaCasey for giving up another run. Michael Fulmer, who came in, got the loss. Ended up giving a home run up to Ortiz. Same thing, a curveball up, and Ortiz hit it out to right field. A couple home run balls hit by the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Giants end up losing 8-7. And really, the big picture here was Keaton Wynn not being able to get an out, not being able to throw strikes. His first 5 pitches were all over the place, and from there it just got uglier as he gave up a grand slam to Amaya. He didn't get 1 out, 4 hitters up, 2 walks, 2 hits, 1 grand slam. It's just disheartening for me. I'm a Keaton Wynn fan. I've loved how he's gone out there and competed this whole spring. I was calling him a dark horse last week, and he's still, he'll still get some opportunities here, but there's not many games left. And this bullpen is going to start opening up. Of course, they sent Will Bednar down. They sent Juan Sanchez down. They will have more pitchers and players being cut here this week. Right now, they have 54 players in camp. Of course, the 26-man roster has to be cut by the 25th. And it might get down to that 23rd and 24th game when they're having an exhibition game against Mexico. So you just don't know what these guys are thinking. A lot of players still in camp. 54 players, so a lot more opportunity for a lot of these players and pitchers. All right, let's go to the phone lines. 415-808-KNBR. Let's go to Hayward and talk to Rick. Rick, you're on Next Earning Postgame Show. How are you today, buddy?
I am good. How are you doing, Bill?
Good. As you've heard me, Rick, I'm a big Keaton Wynn fan. He just struggled today. He just could not throw strikes. A couple squeezes, a couple close calls. Just a hard 4 earned runs on him today, and I know he's shaking his head going home today.
Yeah. I know that he's been through struggles and, with the Tommy John surgery that he had and all that, and then pretty much last year was a wash. It is tough, and I know he's trying to get back, but unfortunately it seems like that's most of our team. Most of our bullpen is pitchers that are recovering from some sort of injury.
It seems like that, doesn't it? It seems like you start looking up and down, and they've either had a hip, they've had lower back, they've had shoulder issues, elbow issues, and they're fighting.
Ankles.
Each one of these guys are fighting for one of those spots in the bullpen.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, due to ownership, I think that's how Buster and Zach had to build this team through low-cost reclamation projects, and now we hear that Hayden Birdsong's on the bench with on the
elbow
shelf
issue.
with elbow.
Yeah, they really haven't defined it yet. They haven't defined it yet. They just had some soreness in the elbow. He's going to get some more looks to see what it is, but. Again, an elbow, forearm, those are all things that you don't want to hear. He threw so well his last outing, getting up to about 99 to 100 on his fastball. But again, the curveball and the changeup and the slider, a lot of pressure on that elbow.
Yeah. It just scares me about the team. I don't care. People are calling and are so happy about the record. Okay. I get the record good, and that is good. I mean, yeah, they come into the season with wins and being the best team in
the Cactus League
training.
champions.
Hey, remember they were that last year, and we ended up 81-81.
Yep.
But the point is, why do you think they didn't go after some healthier bullpen options, at least a couple? Especially for the back end of the pen, instead of
you're right. You're so right, Rick. And they start filling in pieces. They filled in. Hopefully, some of the young guys take the spot. But you need some veteran leadership. What was good, we saw Eric Miller throw the ball real well yesterday, punching out 3, and that's a positive on the left-hand side because they sent Juan Sanchez down. They bring in Joey Lucchesi, who I didn't understand why they didn't re-sign him. He had such a good year. I really felt he was a very good pitcher out of the left side last year. But now he's trying to catch up. They kind of pushed him in today. He wasn't sharp today at all. It looks like Carson Wisenhunt will probably end up being a starter in AAA. Matt Gage, who pitched well the other night, looks like he might take that other left-hand spot with Eric Miller if they go to 2 lefties in the bullpen. But Eric Miller, that was a big, big plus watching his velo get up there and blowing people away yesterday.
Well, like I said, I'm just hoping that this doesn't go sideways and Eric Miller doesn't end up on the shelf like all the other 15 bullpen guys that we have. That Eric Miller, same exact thing, elbow issue, shoulder. I don't know exactly what it was. I just hope he's okay. And and healthy again. You know, the surprise of this whole team has got to be this Victor Barracuda.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this kid is ridiculous in his hitting. And where is he going to end up? Is he going to end up
AAA
in
He'll be in
Sacramento?
AAA. I just don't see him making this club. I see him in AAA. He's never played AAA before. Having a great spring. Everybody loves him. I just don't feel that he's going to be a fourth outfielder or a backup first baseman. The guy that's intriguing me right now is Jesus Rodriguez, playing left field today. That surprised me, but as John and Joe were talking about, hey, they're trying to get him somewhere because he can hit. He's mashing the ball. I just don't know what their thoughts are, and maybe they're just throwing a spreadsheet out there trying to figure out where these guys can fit in. I always call it a puzzle. Put a puzzle piece here, puzzle piece there. Does it fit? Does it not fit? But, boy, they're in love with this kid, and he's hitting the cover off the ball.
Now, I'm trying to remember if he was the Rogers or the Duvall trade. but
Rodriguez
but
came from the Yankees.
Yeah, he's from the Yankees. Okay, so that would mean he's the Duvall trade. Camille Duvall.
He came in
trade.
for Duvall. Yes. Yeah, he came from. But
Yeah,
they had him pegged
so,
as a catcher. That was it, right? He was a catcher. That's why they said, we're going to pick up a backup catcher. And he really hasn't been catching much. He's been playing second, third, left field. Did okay. No, nothing was hit to him, but I think they love his bat. And he's been putting the ball in play. Of course, they hit a bomb against the Cubs the other day, last weekend, and he had 2 nice hits today. It's just imperative on what these guys are thinking, and we don't know as fans or analysts. We just don't know what they're thinking of. What's this team's going to break down to 26 players?
Well, that was the knock on Rodriguez, was either he couldn't throw. I think that's exactly it. He couldn't throw from the catcher's position last year, but there was no question about his hitting at all.
Mm-hmm.
He was a grade A1 hitter. It's just that they couldn't see him as a catcher because he couldn't make the throw to second base. I remember talking to a bunch of people last year when they made the trade, and they were saying, well, yeah, if he could ever get the ball down to second base, I think they got to get him to throw to second to get it to first, you know. So,
they even brought him up, Rick. They brought him up in September, the last couple of weeks after the season was over for AAA, to work with him. And they were really working hard with him in the catching position, having him catch the bullpen, doing some side work. I was at the ballpark a couple of times. They had him, throwing down to second base. They were really trying to push him to be that catcher. But as you're seeing these guys come out, Daniel Susac looks like he's got the edge to be the backup catcher. I think he deserves it. Having a good spring, throwing out a few people. I just didn't think Eric Haas has those numbers yet. A good catcher that's been in the big leagues a few times as a veteran. But then, you hear John talking today, well, they're going to carry 3 catchers, and then Rodriguez could be a second baseman. I don't think. I think John is guessing just like all of us are. I don't think they have a set situation yet on who they're taking. I think this is all going to come down to these last 7 days, 11 days till opening day, and I think that's what's going to end up here, and we're going to find out what this roster is going to look like.
Okay, I'll call you next. Well, it won't be next Sunday because I probably won't be able to talk because I'm having some dental work done next week, so I won't be talking.
Well, it's always good talking with you, Rick. It's always great. Always great talking to you.
But I was going to say, I'll call you in a couple of weeks, and we'll talk about the final roster. I honestly think it's going to be Susac. I think it's going to be Encarnacion. I think it's going to be Matos. I think it's going to be Koss, and I think it's going to be Schmidt are going to be the 5.
All right. We'll find out when that roster is made, and I'm sure I'll talk to you the first weekend when the Yankees are in town. All right. Thanks, Rick. I appreciate it. 415-808-KNBR if you want to get on the phone lines. We're going to take a quick break and come back with more right here on the Extra Inning Postgame Show on KNBR, the sports leader.
You're listening to the former Giants righty. It's KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Heard on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR.
Looks like he is right on the doorstep for making a big league debut as Devers swings, drives a high fly ball deep left. This one heading way back. It is gone! Off the big scoreboard here in very deep left center. Rafael Devers.
All right, back on the Extra Inning Postgame Show with Bill Laskey. Rafael Devers coming into the game today 0 for 18 with 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. And what does he do today? He strikes out his first at bat in the first inning. It's a nice base hit in the third, and then he goes whammo left field with his first home run, a 2-1 fastball. hit it 406 feet, a 3-run blast by Rafael Devers. And you get this guy going hot, he may never get out. But what a great turnaround today for him. No doubt he feels a lot better after today's game. But let's talk a little WBC. How about Italy upsetting Puerto Rico today? Italy now will go into the semifinals, and they beat Puerto Rico today 8-6. And tonight, the big game, Japan against Venezuela. We'll be able to see that one. First pitch at 6 o'clock, I do believe. And we got to talk about the ace who threw a gem yesterday against Canada. That was Logan Webb, going 4 2/3 innings, only giving up 4 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. Threw a little over 70 pitches. He walks away with 2 of United States of America wins. He's 2-0. Of course, his first game against Brazil, he went 4 innings, 1 hit, 1 run. That was a home run by Lucas Ramirez. And then no walk, 6 strikeouts. So what a nice surprise, but at the same time, well earned by Logan Webb as he goes 8 2/3 innings, only giving up 5 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts. 2 fabulous games against Brazil and Canada. Before the game today, Tony Vitello says he will stay on to watch the next 2 games, hopefully for United States. Of course, USA will be playing Dominican tomorrow. That's going to be a hell of a game. That's going to be a battle. Of course, Paul Skeens will be throwing for USA, and we'll see if United States can pull it off. And then the finals will be behind it. So it's going to be a fun finish in a WBC. And United States, of course, got in by Italy beating Mexico. And a big plus is Mr. DeRosa said a few things that weren't true. And it really put him in a backward situation. But let's see if United States can bail him out as they did yesterday against Canada. I want to go back into Adrian Hauser because he's going to be one of the starting 5 pitchers for the San Francisco Giants. And today was really the first time I got to watch him in a Giants uniform. And he really had a nice mix of 5 pitches. The sinker and slider, the sinker, as I said earlier, 94, 92, that's the kind of speed you want on it. So you get more speed on it. You get the dip of the pitch. The slider, of course, it's going to be tough in Arizona to get a nice tight spin on it. But at the same time, he was still 85 to 87, and that's still a good movement on a slider. Got 1 ball up, the home run ball, but that was in the 4th inning. The cross-seam fastball got up to 97. That surprised me a little bit. But earlier reports saying that he was getting a little faster with the fastball, and he was bringing a little more life to it. The curveball and the changeup, great off-speed pitches, a nice off-speed curveball, 12-6. Got some swing throughs, and he also got some hitters watching it. The changeup, maybe only threw 4 or 5 of them, low 80s. But when you're looking at a 5-pitch mix, he was around the plate, and I love the first pitch strikes, 15 first pitch strikes to 20 of the hitters he faced today. And then you start looking at the mix of what he did each inning. 14 pitches the first inning, 9 for strikes. The second inning, really a nice 1-2-3 inning. He had 8 pitches, 7 of them for strikes. Third inning, similar, 14 pitches, 7 for strikes. The 4th inning, of course, he gave up a double and a home run, lasted a little longer than what he expected. And that was at 19 pitches, 13 for strikes. His last inning, 18 pitches, 12 for strikes, gave up a couple base hits, but got out of it. And I think as you get deeper in the spring, those middle innings aren't going to be the innings of starting pitchers aren't going to have to battle a little longer. Stay in there a little more. Trust your secondary pitches. He did that nicely today. 73 pitches he threw, 48 for strikes. And he'll probably fit in that 4th slot in the starting rotation, most likely when you see the other 3 in front of him. And then you'll have probably Landon Roop as a 5 spot. It's just the scenario that I'm looking at is when they open up on March 25th and they have an off day on the 26th, and then they only play Friday, Saturday with an off day on Sunday. I'm just trying to figure out how they're going to do this rotation with these guys staying in the mix. And if they do pitch on the 23rd and 24th, the 2 exhibition games, will they go a little deeper with a little extra rest? And the off days in those first couple weeks are so difficult for a pitching coach and a manager to try to figure out their starting staff. You want Logan Webb, of course. He's going to pitch the 25th, his next start. will be next Friday against the Kansas City Royals in spring training, and then his start will be on March 25th against the Yankees. So he's in line there. Robbie Ray's pitching tomorrow. He'll get one more start down there, and he's in line to pitch on the 27th. He might get two more starts if you start looking at how many days there are. So I think these things are gauged perfectly for those 1 and 2. And then after that, are you going to bring back Logan Webb on the 30th on his 5th day? And then he's on every 5th day. So some good things to talk about. Those are good. Those are good options to have when you want to be on a starting staff and having 5 solid pitchers. But I think what the biggest issue right now is what this bullpen is going to look like, what roles these guys are going to have. This has been going on all spring training, every show we've been doing on the weekends. We've been talking about the bullpen. And guys are fighting in, guys are fighting out. I really thought Juan Sanchez had an opportunity to maybe open eyes up to break the bullpen, but he got optioned out, as well as Will Bednar. And Will Bednar, coming back from injury, of course, he's going to have a solid year in AAA. But, boy, he's got electric stuff. Both these guys have electric stuff. They'll go down to AAA and get some work. And, of course, my earlier caller, Rick, we talked a little bit about Hayden Burnsong having a little elbow inflammation, a couple checkups now to see what it is, if there's any structural damage. And those are the question marks that are falling because guys get injured, next guy's up. And you start looking at a bullpen of, guys that are still there. A Keaton Wynn, who had a terrible outing today. Carson Seymour. Michael Fulmer today gave up the home run. Trevor McDonald's just had an awesome spring. Then you look at J.T. Brubaker, Caleb Killian, Gregory Santos, who throws over 100 miles an hour. Tristan Beck. Blake Tidwell's still there, but I just don't think he's going to have a shot out of the bullpen. Then you really think, these 3 guys I think are going to be solid out of the bullpen, and that's Ryan Walker, your closer, Jose Buno, and Spencer Bivens. I think all 3 of those are locked and loaded in middle relief, as well as Ryan Walker being the closer. 415-808-KNBR if you want to get on the phone line. He's got a couple of interviews coming up here. Jared Oliva, had a chance to track him down. What an exciting person he is. I'm looking forward to doing a few more interviews with him. And then I had a chance to talk to Irwin Hagaras. Of course, Irwin is the play-by-play announcer for Spanish radio. 162 games. 162 games he does. And does a fabulous job. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Come back with more right here on the Extra Inning Postgame Show with Bill Laskey. We'll be right back right here on Sports Leader.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with former Giants right-hander Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Hear him on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR. Play KNBR.
All right, welcome back to the Extra Inning Postgame Show with Bill Laskey. Giants. This was a tough one in Scottsdale, 8-7. They were up 7-2. And the Arizona Diamondbacks scored 6 runs, 4 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th to pull it out, 8-7. Giants had 16 hits in this game. Jesus Rodriguez, a player that's trying to make the squad, he was in left field. He goes 2 for 4. Rafael Devers had a big day today, 2 for 3 with a base hit in his first home run, 3 RBIs. Casey Schmidt got a knock. He was 1 for 2. Will Bernard, who's really, Brennan is starting to get some opportunities too in the outfield. He can play multiple positions. He can play all 3. Of course, he came from the Guardians. He had a nice 1 for 3 day with a nice base hit in the 3rd inning to get an RBI on that. Daniel Susak looking to be the backup catcher. He's going to be probably behind Patrick Bailey. I would think he's going to be your backup. Of course, Rule 5. He came from the Minnesota Twins once the Twins picked him up from the Oakland Athletics. And then what happens? The Giants picked him up from the Minnesota Twins on a trade. Had a great game today, 2 for 3 with a home run to right center field and a base hit. Christian Koss, again, a solid game, 2 for 3. And Jake Holton, who played first base, he goes 2 for 3 today. Tomorrow, the Milwaukee Brewers come to Scottsdale. Robbie Ray will get to start. You can hear it right here on KNBR as well as watching on NBC Bay Area. The schedule this week is pretty quick, as next Saturday will be the last game for the Giants in Scottsdale. They traveled on Monday to play the San Diego Padres. Tuesday they're open. Wednesday they play the Dodgers. And then they play Colorado. And then Friday and Saturday they finish it out in Scottsdale against Kansas City and Cleveland. 415-808-KNBR if you want to get on the phone lines. Let's go out to San Jose and talk to my buddy, the Bar Fighter. Bar Fighter's back. How are you?
Prime time. What's rocking, man?
How you been, buddy? How's the winter? How's the off season? And are you excited about this team
prime
this year?
Time. This is my favorite time of the year, man. Spring training, when the boys show up, man. This is my favorite time of the year. Hey, can I do my lead-in?
Go right ahead. You know it is. It's Bar Fighter.
Still a proud and long-standing member of the Lunatic Fringe.
And
you know
that.
what?
You gotta love that.
I have a new one now. To all the lunatics, to all the lunatics who have been lunatics before me, I salute you.
Hey, you're coming in pretty strong here in 2026, Bar Fighter. You got some new material. We got to make it a little better, though.
Okay, yeah. I'll sharpen it up a little bit in the next call. Hey, but
let me ask you, Bar Fighter, what do you think of this team? And let's start off with Tony Vitello. Was that a surprise to you, what Buster Posey did?
You know, I mean, I at this point, it was very much a surprise to me. It was very much out of the box.
Right. I agree.
But
it's been working out. You know, you hear all these players saying he's got excitement. He pushes us. We're doing drills. He's on us. He brings excitement to this clubhouse. He brings adrenaline. And then he's got that game face on in the dugout. There's no question he's got his little notebook on the side of him. He's dialed in, but, boy, that staff he's got around him, it's perfect for him.
Well, Buster's been bringing in a lot of the old pros, right?
Yeah, he's bringing his old roster in, You got Javi Lopez, Kirk Casale. You saw Craw there the other night. A lot of great alumni players that have Pablo Sandoval's in there now. Will Clark's there. Of course, Dusty's back from the WBC. Bruce Bochy's been there the whole spring. Ron Washington is my guy, man. I tell you, he was a teammate of mine in a couple of places in Cleveland and in Venezuela, and I just love to hear all the accolades of all these players saying, this guy's awesome. He works us hard. He knows what he's talking about, and we love having him push us.
Buster's got his Pentagon on now, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got his war machine on.
He's got his eye black on, right?
Yeah, let's see. Everybody thinks, I'm like a negative Nelly. I'm not, I just want to see how things progress, right?
Right. I think we all do. I really do. I think everybody wants to see. I want to see what this 26-man roster is going to be like. Is there going to be a couple surprises? Is Bryce Eldridge going to make this? What are they going to do with Gerard Encarnacion and Matos because they're out of options? It's really going to be appalling the next 10 days because 11 days you're having your opening day on Wednesday the 25th. So the next week there's going to be a lot of meetings as they are now, but there's going to be some excitement in seeing what they do here.
I think Eldridge has got to be on the roster. Eldridge, get some young blood into that team, and Eldridge has to be in there.
Well, that's where I think Tony Vitello's doing. I think that's where his makeup is. I want to see younger players with a mix of the older players. Today on NBC Bay Area, Koss was talking in a live interview saying, hey, the older guys are bringing the younger guys in. It's a mix of good. It's a mix of experience. They were always talking, and he mentioned Willie Adames, Matt Chapman, Logan Webb. Bryce Eldridge talked about Rafael Devers watching over him. I love that. And that, to me, is a makeup of a team to help each other, build what's coming up, as well as being strong of what you have.
Yeah, it's teamwork. Hey, you mentioned earlier, and I just want to get your thoughts on Santos.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me, because you said 99, his fastball?
Were you talking about Juan Sanchez, or are you talking about Hayden Birdsong?
Sanchez, I guess. Yeah, the young
Sanchez, the left-hander. He had Tommy John a couple years ago.
Mixed up in the name.
Yeah, last year he was hurt most of the year. He was rehabbing, came back in September in the fall, had a nice winter ball, and he worked out real well. Came into camp throwing the ball pretty well, but with the Tommy John, I think it's smart for them to put him back in Sacramento and get him started on a more of a routine of how many innings he can throw and rest days than to try to rush him at the big league level. He's a great left-handed arm. He's been in the organization 7 years. He signed as a 17-year-old lefty. Now, the other one I was talking about was Hayden Birdsong, who really just stunk his first 2 outings. The first game against Seattle, then he came in the bullpen against, I think it was Colorado, and gave up a couple home runs. Now he has a sore elbow. That was diagnosed a couple days ago. To me, that's a worry because I think the young kid is capable of coming out of the bullpen, and right now he's on the shelf, and they're taking a couple options and seeing what's wrong.
Do you think Birdsong has a problem with his strike zone?
Well, I had an earlier interview with him, and I brought this up to him, Bar Fighter. I said it seemed like every time you got in trouble, the strike zone shrunk on you. And when you do that, you start aiming the ball. You aim the ball instead of throwing the ball. And what happens? The ball's up, or the ball's down, or the ball's out. Next thing you know, it's 2-0, it's 3-1, and you're trying to throw to a strike zone that you think is so small, but yet it's normal, but it's the pressure between the ears. And I think that's what caved in on him. He's a young kid, and he think about 2 years ago what he did, punching out 12 guys in Colorado. He has some great stuff. He's got major league ability. It's getting back out there and being consistent, and we just haven't seen that.
So you think it's just a mental thing, like overthinking, or what?
I think it is. I really do. I drilled him about it, and he says, they don't want me to think anymore, Bill. They just want me to throw. And I raised my hand up, and I said, yeah, so do I. So, he's a, bar fighter. We've seen so many young kids beat each other up on the mound, talking to themselves, walking guys, just not being able to break away from it and fire and get out of an inning. You start thinking more. Everyone, now it's first and second. Now I got to make a perfect pitch. I can't throw this pitch. It's the doubt. And once you have doubt, you can't click out of it. It's tough.
Well, I was listening to FP San Frantangelo, and I still think Papa ripped me off of that when he does his call with the Niners, San Francisco. I think Papa would rip me off on that. But hey, my thinking is, and FP Santangelo said this, the beauty of baseball, it's a game within a game. It's a physical game, but it's also a chess match.
Always. And it's inning
and
to
that's
inning,
the beauty.
out to
that's
out,
the beauty of
batter
game.
to batter. Yeah.
That's the beauty.
It's a difficult
that's the beauty
game.
of it.
Yeah. But you know what, Barfighter, as a pitcher, as a starting pitcher, you get in a nice rhythm, you get on a roll, and you don't even think how many outs there are. You're just getting the next guy out, some guy gets a hit, forget about it, next guy out. And you can see it in a Logan Webb. You can see it in a Paul Skeens. You can see it at these elite pitchers. Nothing bothers them. Okay, got a hit. All right,
it's all smooth, right? It's all smooth.
Yeah. And I think that's the key of being a successful big league pitcher, by letting those things go by and getting the next guy out, than the younger pitcher worrying about that guy at first base now, worrying about the next guy. How am I going to get him out? What if I walk him? And those too many thoughts in your head, and you got to clear your head if you're going to try to get out of trouble.
Yeah, it's like Marty pretty much, I'm paraphrasing Marty, right? But it's a developing story. Baseball is a developing story.
Well, that does make sense. But when you're saying a developing story, it's a storyline. It's what happens to one hitter, to the next hitter, to the next inning, to how do you get to 2, 3, 4 innings. It's really how you mentally and physically prepare as a pitcher to do each inning. I used to go in there, first 3 hitters out. Okay, what am I going to do the next 3 hitters? You have to have a plan. It can't just be one pitch. You got to have a plan ahead. And the more you have a plan ahead, that catcher and you work so much better together. And that's the smooth part about being a successful pitcher.
Isn't that a storyline?
Not really. It's a game line to me. Game to game. It's game to game, inning to inning. It's playing baseball. It's being a pitcher. And as a hitter, it's pitch to pitch. How is he going to face me now? What's he doing now? He throw me a slider. Is he going to throw another slider? Is he going to throw a fastball? There's a routine pitchers do. There's always a routine. It's breaking it or understanding how many pitches he has and when does he throw those pitches. Everything is a storyline. That's why when you look at analytics, that's why they're always looking to see what this pitcher has, what does he go to, and most of the time they're right.
Hey, Primetime. Check me out on SJ Barfighter on X.
All right, I will. Barfighter, pleasure, man. Great season coming ahead. Looking forward to more conversations. I appreciate your time. All right, coming up next, I sit down with Irwin Hagaras. Now, this week, I was the host of Sports Phone KNBR, and I had a chance to catch up with Irwin, but it was such a good interview. I want you to hear it. Of course, he is the translator for most Latin players. When you hear the Latin player of the game or any interviews, Irwin Hagaras is right next to him. Of course, he's been the Spanish language broadcaster for Gigantes Radio for many years, over 25 years. And then you start looking at Tito Fuentes, his counterpart, his color commentator, and a good combination. So I sat down with Irwin Hagaras and talked some Spanish players, some Latin players, and some great stories of his career. Coming up next, and you'll hear it, Sports Phone KNBR presents Irwin Hagaras right here on the Sports Leader.
John Henry with the Henry Union Square Hotel in San Francisco. Yep, I'm back, and I have a great deal. The Orange and Black are back, so go on Friday night, March 27th. It's against those pinstripers who belong in jail but got out and are coming here. They're playing on Saturday, so go either night or both nights on our baseball special. You get 20% off a deluxe room with parking and our cable car continental breakfast. Call now, 800-995-HUSH. That's 800-995-HUSH and ask for the baseball special.
KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey keeps the postgame rolling live right here.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
On KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM. The sports leader.
Welcome back to Sports Phone KNBR on a Tuesday night with Bill Laskey. I'm honored to have my guest on. Of course, he's been with San Francisco Giants over 25 years as a Spanish language broadcaster, play-by-play with Tito Fuentes, a 3-time Emmy Award winner. Let's bring in Irwin Hagaras. How are you today, Irwin?
Bill, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Well, spring training's pretty much half over. You've been down there the whole time. What has been the most surprising to you so far?
Wow. I mean, we can, I got to tell you that one of the big surprises has got to be Victor Berricoto, one of the outfielders, younger guys that has been, he's enjoying camp for the first time. The other surprise is Juan Sanchez on the pitching side. I think those are the two big surprises for me.
Well, Juan Sanchez is a left-handed pitcher. Of course, I've interviewed him, and he seems to get the eye of Tony Vitello. Earlier this week, a nice article was written, and Tony talked about his perseverance. He works hard. He throws good. And he says he's got a great attitude. Tell me a little bit more about Juan.
He was very close in making the team. I guess that was my observation in 2023. He was opening eyes. He was doing really good in camp until the injury. And obviously, we know that he had season-ending Tommy John. He came back last year for a little bit. And this year, he's back, and his optimism is unique. He's obviously valuing this opportunity that he has in being in camp. He's throwing very well. There is no more pain in his left arm. So, he's just enjoying the moment and taking every opportunity that the coaching staff is giving him to come in and pitch.
That voice you hear on Sports Phone KNBR, my good friend Irwin Hagaras. Of course, last year, Irwin, 162 games on Spanish radio. Of course, you did 81 on the road and 81 at home. You are a busy guy. Tell me a little bit about what's going to happen in 2026.
2026, we're going to have the same thing, 162 games. At home, I will continue working with Tito Fuentes. On the road, I will have Carlos Orellana with me. Obviously, Carlos Orellana also does play-by-play at home, but that's how the games are going to be divided. And I'm sure I will find some energy somewhere to do the play-by-play, and then from the broadcast booth, run down to the clubhouse to translate for any land players that need my assistance.
Irwin, you're a busy man, no doubt about it. And let's talk about it. You're definitely the translator for Latin players. This year, I've counted about 14, 15 players in big league camp. Some of them don't need you. They speak very good English, but most of them have different ways of speaking Spanish. You had talked about this in an earlier interview. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, basically what it is like I keep telling a lot of people, Spanish is Spanish. You will understand. It's just that certain idioms that they use, some different slang, Dominicans, Venezuelans, when we have players from Mexico, etc. And it's just, for me, it's just spending time with them to understand what they're talking about, what they're trying to say, because sometimes people may say, my God, he just almost answered the question the same way. But, I spend time with the guys, and that's one of the things that I love about my job, which is I'm here for 6 weeks in spring training. It gives me an opportunity not only to continue building a relationship with the regular players like Devers, like Arraez, who's new to the team, but also with potential younger players that I will see sometime during the regular season, like Berricoto, for example, San Martin, maybe Juan Sanchez if he doesn't make the opening day roster.
Well, Irwin, you talked about relationships, and relationships mean trust. And a lot of these players, you just mentioned a couple players like Devers coming over from Boston, Arraez coming from San Diego. They have to learn about you. They got to understand a little bit more about you. And you really bring up that word trust. Tell me a little bit about how you do that.
I am who I am. Mm-hmm. What you see is what you get, and you can speak to this. I'm not different. I don't change my personality. I'm friendly with them. Maybe it helps that I'm older than they are. Maybe I'm older than their dads. So that adds a little bit that trust. But, I just talk to them. Like Devers, for example, I spend time talking to him, getting to know him. But at the same time, if I see that he's not one that loves to talk, I just give him his space. Mm-hmm. When they need something, I'm there. There's other players like, for example, Juan Sanchez, Randy Rodriguez. They love to talk. I talk to them, and you know, just a matter of respecting who they are and giving them their space. I share with them who I am. If I want to know about their background, if I want to know about their families, their upbringing, well, then I got to be ready to also be able to reciprocate and share with them about me, because I think that it's not fair that I want to know everything about them, and then when they want to know about me, I climb up and don't share anything. That is not how I do things, and I think that's part of the way to gain their trust.
Irwin, two players of the past that you grew to really, really love and became family with was Pablo Sandoval and Johnny Cueto. Both players played here a few years. Of course, Pablo came up through the minor leagues with the Giants. You got to know him when he first came to the big leagues and had a nice relationship with him. Those are two players that really, really trusted you and everything they did. How did you do that in the length? How did you do the longevity of a friendship, the longevity of working with both these guys? And they were both fabulous players for the Giants.
I'll answer the Pablo Sandoval question first because it's easy. So, I've been with the Giants since 1998. I met Pablo when he was in the minor leagues. I would go and talk to the minor leaguers at our complex in Indian school, and I would share with them what they needed to do when they came up to the majors and talk to the media and translate. So I'm sure that Pablo Sandoval, to mention one, that sat with the land players during that presentation while the English guys were getting their presentation on the other room, saw me here. He comes up to the big leagues, and then obviously you're new to the team. This is what I'm thinking, right? You come to the team and all the faces are new, but then you see somebody that you remember that you saw before, and then a friendly face that I've been here. I translated for him at the beginning, and then all of a sudden he just took off on his own. So I think that that's one of the reasons that we built the friendship, we built that trust. Johnny Cueto was different, meaning that I was here. He came here in 2016. He got to know me, and I really don't know what I did to gain his trust, to be honest with you. I just know a story that I tell people when he went to the All-Star game in 2016. I'm translating for our travel secretary about, what they're going to do, going to San Diego. And then Johnny says, no, I don't need for them to buy my plane ticket because I'm going to charter my own flight to take my entire family on the plane.
Nice.
So then, yeah, I'm translating all that. And, as we're walking towards his locker, I said, okay, so I'll see you in San Diego, and then he looks at me, he goes, we have room in my plane. But before I told him yes, my question was, because I was surprised. That had never happened to me. I said, I'll let you know after the game. Right? I mean, it's like, really, Irwin? That was your answer? I'll let you know after the plane. So then I get up there to the booth and I tell Tito what happened. And Tito starts laughing. And then he says to me, you have to say yes. Because if you don't go, he has already accepted you into his family by inviting you to the plane. If you say no, he will never invite you for a cup of coffee.
Well,
so
that's
then,
a special friendship, no question there. And I think it goes back to family and trust and relationships. I'm glad you went on his plane because I'm sure you did.
I did. And that was the beginning of a long friendship. I still text him and I send him messages, just checking on him, how he's doing. And, it's something that is hard to explain, but yeah, you make me reminisce on those times with Johnny, which was great time with him.
Irwin Hagaras joining me on Sports Phone KNBR. You talk about going over to Indian school or even Papago, where the minor leagues were, where they are now. A couple young players, and one is Luis Hernandez, who signed recently. He's 17 years old. He's coming over to the United States, and it's going to be one of these great opportunities for a young kid not being able to play in the DR in kind of a rookie ball. Are you going to go and meet him? Are you going to talk to him about what's next?
We did already. We did.
Great.
Megan Brown, who's in our department, we went to go do a little media presentation with some of our big prospects. We did them together. She did her presentation in English. I got to meet him and also Joshua Gonzalez, just to name a couple, and just to talk to them a little bit what they're going to expect in regards to the media, how to conduct themselves, how to talk to the media. And obviously, we are going to continue doing that with all of our players to go talk to them. Obviously, the Giants themselves, they do a great job with all of our land players to help them adapt to the new culture, to teach them English so they can, be ready for this. However, talking to the media is a little bit different. But like I tell all the guys, you want to do it on your own, I will not discourage you to try and do interviews in English.
Yeah, I really believe they're going to have to because it's so important for them to speak what they want to speak and how they feel. And I just think he's going to be an exciting player down the road. Hey, let's jump back in this Giants clubhouse for a little bit longer. Let's talk about Rafael Devers and, of course, Luis Arraez, two players that are now going to be playing on the right side. Of course, Devers was a fantastic third baseman. Arraez was a good second baseman. They kind of moved him to first base. Of course, he's playing first base in a WBC. Tell me how both these guys are adapting to Ron Washington and what he brings to the defense.
Ron Washington is working them really hard. I have yet to beat Ron Washington to the building, and I get here early. Sometimes I'm here at 6:30 in the morning, and Ron Washington is already on the field waiting for those guys to work with. I think what's going to happen here is that Arraez is going to get better at second base. Devers has the athletic ability. We saw it last year when he was playing first. Obviously, a lot of people say, well, if you can play, the infield, you can play in the position. But I tend to say, not really, because they're different. You're sitting at third base. The ball is coming to you in a different angle as opposed to being on first base. Your footwork is very important at first base. There's a lot of things going on when you're at first base. So I think they're both adapting really hard. I think that Ron Washington is working them really hard. And the end result is going to be them being better at their positions this year.
Two players that are out of options, Gerard Encarnacion and Luis Matos. Matos, the younger player, got hit in the head on that game that was on television here in NBC Bay Area against Seattle. Hopefully he's doing well. It looked really bad when he first got hit. But he is having a fantastic spring. Hasn't struck out yet up to this day. What do you think the Giants are thinking about for both these players?
Oh, my goodness. I wish I was executive and I could tell you. It's going to be a very hard decision for our executives.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about Buster, Tony Vitello, old, Zach Manassian. It's going to be a very difficult decision for them because, as you just mentioned, he's having a great spring. So is Encarnacion, and they have to make the team. They don't have options. They have to make the team. And if they make the team, that means that somebody else that also play well and deserves to be on the team is going to be probably starting the year at AAA.
It's going to be a tough decision. Outfields are stacked, and both of them could either be an outfielder or a DH. And you got to look at the infield. And a couple players are fantastic playing. You got Christian Koss, you have Schmidt, you have Fitzgerald. There's so many different areas on this team, especially even at the catcher's position. But that's what Buster Posey wanted. He wanted competition at camp. And I think you and I are both thinking the same way. It's going to come down as we get closer to the end of March. Your thoughts on that as we continue?
It's a good problem to have, isn't it, Bill?
It sure is.
I mean, right? I mean, you have, assuming that the starting lineup or starting outfielders would be Ramos in left, Bader in center, Janhu in right, and then you think, okay, who can we have on the bench? Matos, Encarnacion, and let's not forget that McCray in that group. And then in the infield, you just mentioned three that could play different positions in the infield. And catching, we also have a lot of options.
Mm-hmm.
So we're sitting pretty good. I would say to the fans, get ready for exciting season because we have good players and we have good options.
Couple more questions with Irwin Hagaras on Sports Phone KNBR. Let's jump to the WBC. I got to ask you, who's your favorite team? I'm sure it's either Dominican, Venezuela, Mexico, or USA. A lot of good teams, and you can't count out Japan, the reigning WBC champions. Who you got, Irwin?
I got the USA. I'm sorry. I gotta go. I gotta go with USA. They're stacked. However, and you're laughing because I threw you a curve there.
You did. You did.
However,
I thought for sure you were going to go Dominican Republic. They got one of the best lineups that I've ever seen going out there. And, every one of these Latin countries is pretty good. And USA, of course, I'm right there with you. But you definitely threw me a curveball. I wasn't expecting that one.
no, I mean, I'm pulling for the United States, of course, but then I wouldn't be surprised if the final would be against Japan and the United States. I would love to see the DR um, do good, but then, Venezuela's a good team, right? I mean, you can't go wrong with any team that you pick, but I'm picking the United States.
Well,
I'm
Irwin,
picking that.
it's a pleasure always catching up with you. You have a good rest of the spring training. Can't wait to see you when you come back to the Bay Area. And I'm sure there's a lot of fans waiting for that 162 games of the season you're going to put together behind the mic.
Thank you, Bill. Anytime. Always great talking to you.
Excellent. That was Irwin Hagaras on Sports Phone KNBR. More coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
Bill is back.
Fired up, bringing it, all excited.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Listen on your Google Home smart speaker by saying play KNBR.
All right, back on the Extra Inning Postgame Show on a Saturday here in San Francisco. Giants lose to the Arizona Diamondbacks at Scottsdale 8-7. 8 runs, 11 hits for the D-backs. Giants had 7 runs on 16 hits. 2 home runs, one by Daniel Susak. That was a solo. That was in the 4th inning. And also in the 4th inning, Rafael Devers hit a 2-1 fastball out to left field, 406 feet, a 3-run blast. Giants took a 7-2 lead, but they couldn't hold it, as Keaton Winn just had one of those outings that you just don't want to have in spring training, especially this late in spring training. He has been pitching dynamic. He didn't get anybody out. He faced 4 hitters, walked 2, gave up a hit, and then a grand slam by Ayah. Let's see, who did he hit it to? Ayah, I think it was. Got it here somewhere. Anyway, just was not a good outing for Mr. Keaton Winn. So now they turn the page. Let's go into tomorrow. Of course, they're playing the Milwaukee Brewers tomorrow. Robbie Ray will be on the hill. You can hear that game right here on KNBR as well as on NBC Bay Area. It's going to be televised. And then there's only 1 week left to go until spring training breaks on Saturday. Next Saturday, it'll be the final game in Scottsdale against the Cleveland Guardians. And then they come home and play a night game against the Sacramento River Cats. 2 more games on the 23rd and 24th. And then the home opener right there on March 25th against the New York Yankees. That last interview, Irwin Hagaras, of course, I hosted Sports Phone KNBR on Tuesday, and it was really a good interview, a lot of insight on what he does, especially being an interpreter with the Latin players. But coming up next, I had a great little conversation with Jared Oliva, and just a fast, lightning guy. He's got speed. If you remember in the White Sox game, he pinch ran, steals second base, steals third base, and he comes home on a sac fly to get the tying run, and it ended up being a 3-3 tie. Today, again, he got on first base as a pinch runner and steals second base, gets to third base on a ground ball, but he got stuck there in the 9th inning. He's got 10 stolen bases for the San Francisco Giants, trying to find a way to break this roster. So coming up next, I talked to Jared, and we're going to find out a little bit more about him. And you know what? He's got a lot of spirit, got a lot of energy. And, boy, he has gone through a lot to get to the big league level of spring training as well as a few teams he's been on. So coming up next, Jared Oliva will be talking to me on the Extra Inning Postgame Show coming up next here on the Sports Leader.
This is the flagship of Giants baseball. Double play! KNBR and KNBR FM San Francisco, the sports leader. The game may be over, but we know you want to talk more ball. So KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey continues.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
We are KNBR 104.5 at 680, the sports leader.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Postgame Show with Bill Laskey. I'm excited to bring a new Giant on the airwaves to meet the Giant fan base. Let's bring in Jared Oliva. How are you today, Jared?
Hey, Billy, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Well, a new year, a new uniform, new life. How is it going in Scottsdale?
Yeah, right. Yeah, very fortunate. Very grateful to obviously be here. It's such a historic organization, and obviously there's a new voice with Tony kind of being in charge, and I've been impressed with just the people here. I could go on, but the people, staff, everyone working here have been incredible. I can't really put into words. So the camp's been great. I think everyone's fired up to show up each day. And, when you got good people you're surrounded with, I think it just makes it that much better showing up to the yard. We get to play baseball. It can't be so bad. But, when you're around guys who challenge you and make you better, what beats that?
Boy, you hit it right on the head there, and you're doing a great job this spring. I want to go back in time. You grew up in Santa Clarita. You went to Valencia High School. You had a good senior year, but you didn't get many offers to go to college. What happened there, Jared?
Yeah, Bill, we would need to go a little longer to get the full rundown. But, I have a different story than most. I was talented, I feel like I had the right tools. My family, played baseball, and very talented area for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And things just weren't clicking for me early on, and I got an opportunity of a lifetime to walk on at the University of Arizona. I believe they saw me at a showcase camp actually out here in Phoenix, and to make a very long story kind of short, I took that opportunity and ran with it. My parents allowed me to chase my dreams and try to walk on at the reigning national champion, Arizona Wildcats. And, I was a high school backup pretty much. So that doesn't happen too often.
Really think the word is perseverance, because you went
Absolutely.
through your freshman year, your sophomore year as a red shirt. You had opportunities. It just didn't click. You ended up playing summer ball. You worked your tail off, had some good years, and then it all of a sudden clicked, and you had an outstanding junior year. How did you do this? How did you do it mentally, physically, and you just kept grinding?
Yeah, absolutely. We could go on and on about all this, but like I said at first, how I feel is just super lucky and grateful to be here because I'm surrounded by incredible people and staff. That was a big reason why back in college too, I had Andy Lopez and Coach Sean Cole is the one who brought me over, and their entire staff. And Andy Lopez is the Hall of Fame coach, and then I got to really kind of grow physically, mature a little bit and really learn the game and, kind of get my 10,000 hours in a little bit, to be honest. And by the time we had Jay Johnson came in, Andy Lopez retired, and Jay Johnson came in, so kind of new staff, new voices, and, I really started to make big strides, not only with, the maturing and physical part, but, the baseball skill.
Mm-hmm.
And, by the time junior year kind of came around, we had an Omaha experience under our belt. I was doing a lot of stuff, community-wise down in Tucson and, business school. There's a lot of factors that contributed. And then junior year, it just kind of all came together, to be honest. I felt like my baseball skill kind of caught up to physically where I was at, and also was able to get the attention of some scouts and, start my pro career with the Pirates, the following year. So definitely a unique story and something I know most guys can't really replicate nowadays, especially with NIL stuff and all that. But I was super lucky. I just kind of put my time in and kept chipping away. And, by the time 4 years ended up, I was able to, get my degree, get drafted, and, be a part of some amazing teams.
That voice you hear on Extra Inning Postgame Show, Jared Oliva, of course, he's battling to make this team out of spring training, having a great spring. And you got up to a point of getting to the Pittsburgh Pirates. You got drafted in the 7th round, 2017 draft. Tell me your experience when you got drafted. Excited, of course. Were you ready to jump in and try to make this battle as a big leaguer?
Yeah, I think you don't really fully know what to expect, obviously, when you head into pro ball. Coming into playing every day, and just kind of how to handle yourself. As like your routine kind of changes when you play every day versus maybe college where you play 3-4 times a week. But I keep going back to people, and I was surrounded by great people and had a great org with the Pirates that believed in me, and I fit kind of what they believed in and preached and how they operated, and did they challenge guys? 100%. But I feel like it really contributed to my kind of growth, and they're able to provide a lot of resources too, from the mental skills to obviously having tremendous coaches, and just really people to mentor you along the way. So I give a lot of obviously credit to them, because they got me, helped me get me to the big leagues, and something I'll be forever grateful for.
Well, Jared, let's look at some of your outstanding things you do, some of your skills. And one of the things I'm noticing this spring is base running. You got 7 stolen bases. This past week in Cleveland, in Goodyear, you hit a double, you steal third, a wild throw, and you score a run. But these are not just base running things. These are things that you do by yourself. These are baseball things. And I think that tells you, all of us watching you, is the skill set, the mentality of learning, and how you put it to work. I looked at some numbers, and you had 57 stolen bases in 63 attempts in 95 games. That tells me a lot about you. So tell me, how did you learn how to do base running?
Yeah, well, first off, starts with Pop, starts with my dad. He was a base stealer himself, so I've gotten a lot of tricks of the trade from him. But there's just been some influential people along my career, with Eric Young Jr. a couple of years ago was a really big one. Shane Robinson right now. I mean, we've talked about stuff. I feel like this camp's been long in a good way, in terms of we've gotten a lot of info and bounced a lot of ideas, but sometimes it's just kind of growth and maturing. I mean, I've been lucky to play pro for a little while now, even though I still feel like I'm 26. But it's just some things you got to learn over time, and you got to experience. And I've been fortunate, I guess, to experience some of that, and just kind of having that mentality, knowing how to prepare, what to look for, and how it best suits my game. And I'm just trying to be the best teammate I can out there. And if I find a way on, I want to help the guy behind me, get an RBI, or find a way to get me in. And one of those ways is hey, stealing a base, looking for the ball in the dirt, putting pressure on the defense, just try and play the game of baseball the best I can. And like I said, just trying to be the best teammate so we could find a way to score more runs than the other team. That's what it comes down to.
Jared, Tony Vitello comes out and says, I want all my outfielders to be able to play right field, center field, left field. Are you comfortable in playing all 3 positions?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing the last few years. I feel like most kind of organizations, they value that, or they push that, just because, more versatility is always a good thing. And yeah, we've played a pretty decent amount of the corners over the last few years. And I still love center field. That's definitely a position I think I'm, maybe best at. But I feel like playing left and right, I've gotten pretty strong to be pretty comparable to how I play center. And if we could have three guys who know how to play center, or three center fielders out there in the outfield, that only helps our team. I think that's great. So I'm not opposed where it is. It's just as long as I can help the team. And I could care less where I'm at. It's we have a pretty good group of outfielders here, so any way to fit in is a great way.
A few more minutes with Jared Oliva as we finish up the Extra Inning Postgame Show. Jared, what do you like to do when you're away from the ballpark?
That's a good question. We don't have too much of that time right now, as with spring training. No, it was great. I just had some family out here, so it's been great kind of catching up with them. And I got to cook up some dinner for all of them. I love to cook in my kind of free time, so it was nice just to slow things down a little bit and really just enjoy a meal with them, as simple as it sounds. But
Well, let me go right from there, Chef Jared. What
yeah,
do you like
yeah.
to cook up for people? What are some
Hey
of your
man, well,
favorite
okay, I
foods?
can't let out my secrets just now. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We made up some steak tacos. I put my own little twist on it
Nice.
the other day. But yeah, anytime I can get on a grill and cook some steak or some barbecue like that, I love it. And obviously get to share it around some loved ones makes it even better. So that was definitely good to have them
Jared, what kind of
around.
music you listen to? Do you
You know.
listen to everything, or you put your headphones on? Is there certain things that pump you up?
You know, if I were to go through my Spotify Wrapped for you, Bill, I think I got, uh, Post Malone, I got St. John, Morgan Wallen. I was in Nashville a lot last year, so, Morgan Wallen came into play. But, I'm not too picky with it. I kind of hit on all sorts depending on the mood. But yeah, I have to pull up my Spotify Wrapped to get you the full details later.
So as I finish up with you, Jared, are you a big clothes guy? Do you go out and put the styling clothes on, or are you just kind of a jean kind of guy?
No, Bill, I got my style. I got
Okay.
my style. I'd say I stay pretty consistent. I'm not too flashy like, maybe some others, but I like my style, my fashion. That's one thing me and I'll give credit to my mom, right now for we love to go do and we love to, kind of go shop around together. That's kind of one thing we bond over. But yeah, I like to make sure I won't say well put together, but I got my own style I like to stick to, but nothing too out of the ordinary.
Well, Jared, a pleasure to meet you. Can't wait to get to know you a little bit more as the season continues. But good luck the rest of spring.
Thank you, Bill. No, thanks for having me. Yeah, it was a pleasure to meet you over the phone here. Look forward to, kind of meet you in person and yeah, grow a relationship together during the course of the season. So appreciate you having me on.
Excellent. That was Jared Oliva on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
You're listening to the former Giants righty. It's KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Heard on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Postgame Show with Bill Laskey as we finish out a Saturday. 1 week left in spring training till the Giants come up here on March 22nd to play the River Cats. Today, they lost to the Diamondbacks 8-7. 8 runs, 11 hits for the D-backs, 7 runs, 16 hits with 1 error for the San Francisco Giants. The Giants now are 15-6. Tomorrow, Robbie Ray takes the hill against the Milwaukee Brewers. I want to thank my two guests today, Irwin Hagaras and Jared Oliva. 2 good interviews you'll hear on all KNBR podcasts. I want to thank my producer, Double D, Nanny Dunn, for producing the show, as well as you, Giants fans, for calling in. We'll do it again tomorrow, right after the Milwaukee Brewer game. For Bill Laskey and the Extra Inning Postgame Show, have a great rest of the night. More coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
It's another great outing for the righty on your home of San Francisco Giants baseball. KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader. Play KNBR on iHeartRadio. KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.